Let's have the day's top stories first. Now, in a surprise move, Kenya's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has issued a travel advisory to all Kenyans who may be planning to travel through London's Heathrow Airport. The ministry says there is information provided by U.S. officials of a possible threat of an attack by Al-Qaeda operatives from Yemen and Syria. Now, it is believed that they are developing a sophisticated bomb that could bring down a plane, and Britain would be the country most likely affected. The ministry is therefore asking Kenyan nationals to seek alternative routes to connect to the U.S. and European countries, and these are Doha, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Amsterdam and Addis Ababa in Ethiopia to minimize the risk. Now, at the same time, Britain is advising its citizens to limit their travels while in Kenya following the spate of attacks that have hit the country recently. The British government has warned its citizens to avoid areas like Lamu, Isli, Tana River and several areas in Mombasa. Now, was it a case of love gone sour, or is there more to the tale? This is the question that begs even as police launch investigations into the death of a 20-year-old university student who was burned beyond recognition in her room. Neighbors point a finger at her boyfriend who raised the alarm, but police have urged members of the public to wait for the results of the post-mortem examination.
Light of day, Alpha House stands tall and proud, but the soot on our window betrays its secret. On Thursday night, a resident, a student from the neighboring Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, was found dead in her room. The details of the events that led to her death are unclear. Vicky Faith Awor, a 20-year-old university student in her second year, moved into the hostel in May. Her boyfriend, Juan Marcel, also a university student, visited her here regularly. On Thursday night, the caretaker was woken up by Marcel. He reported that Vicky's single room was on fire.
Saa 7:30 time nilisikia nikibishiwa mlango. Mi kuamka, ilikuwa ni kijana ambaye alikuwa anadai ni boyfriend ya huyu madam aliungua huko. Niita akaniambia niende nimsaidie kuzima moto, atime kuwa mingi.
The caretaker woke up the other hostel residents and together they battled the fire.
At first kujua nini ilikuwa inaendelea. So after kuchungulia nje ndio nikaona moshi na moto ikitoka kwa neighbor.
Sisi hata tulishindwa ni nini cause tukimwaga maji moto sasa ilikuwa inatoka kabisa. Sasa hatuwezi tuka-explain cause hiyo ilitushida cause moto ilienda ikazidi kwa kubwa.
Only after it was out did they find the body of Vicky Faith.
At that time, huyo kijana akiuliza kama kuna mtu alikuwa anasema aje. Sasa after some time ya kustruggle kuzima moto ndio watu walinotice kuna mtu ndani alikuwa amechomeka. Msichana mwenyewe alikuwa kwa kitanda kama amelala.
This now raising questions as to just what had transpired. Neighbors say they had no commotion. It was not clear why Vicky Faith did not raise her voice or attempt to flee. It was her boyfriend Marcel who raised the alarm and opened the door. He had reportedly arrived earlier.
Friend yake sikumbuki mahali alikuwa ametoka, but alikuwa na funguo za hiyo nyumba.
Marcel was taken into police custody while Vicky Faith's body was moved to the Thika Level 5 hospital mortuary awaiting a post-mortem examination. The OCPD Ruiru has ordered that room 105 remain locked until police complete their investigations. Wilkiston, KTN.
Let's stay with matters crime. And a young boy who was shot last night during the killing of a Mombasa businessman has lost his leg. 4-year-old Ali, who was shot together with his father in Changamwe, had his leg amputated after a bullet destroyed his left leg. Police believe the gunmen were targeting businessman Shahid Bhatt, who was killed in the incident. Ferdinand Omondi reports.
At the Bomu Hospital in Chani, Mombasa, 4-year-old Ali is dead asleep. But when he wakes up, he will find out he is missing one leg, which was amputated after being badly damaged by a bullet. The boy's uncle says he was with Ali last evening, together with 2 others near the airport road, on a routine trip to fetch water in a pickup when the evening was interrupted by gunshots.
Kiangalia vizuri kuna watu wanatoka upande wanakuja mbio. Upande ambao tulikuwa sisi. Nikamwambia yule mdogo wangu ambaye ana drive, nikamwambia turudi kwa tulikotoka kwa brother, rudisha gari nyuma faster.
According to Ali, they sped off in the other direction towards the police station only a few meters away, but that is when he noticed something was wrong.
Nilisikia mlio wa risasi. Kitu ambacho kingine ni mtoto ambaye alikuwa nimempakata akawa analia sana.
They had been shot and he noticed the bullet had nearly severed young Ali's leg. He says he limped onto his brother's house for cover, only to be surrounded by police.
Fika palala chini, tukalazwa chini. Na ilali yule mtoto hali yake ni mbaya, ana bleed. Na alikuwa sha bleed. Na mimi pia ndio hivyo, tukalazwa chini hapo. Wakaenda kapiga search kwenye nyumba, hakuna kitu wamepata.
What followed, Ali says, was a dramatic siege by police who he claims treated them like suspects in the shooting as they pleaded their innocence.
Sasa simu zinaita, lakini walikuwa wametupatia warning tusipokee simu. Otherwise mtu akipokea simu atatushoot.
Fahad says the police siege lasted at least 45 minutes before they were eventually allowed to rush to Bomu Hospital, where doctors ruled young Ali's leg could not be saved. Meanwhile, at the main scene of crime, it turned out that businessman Shahid Butt was the main target. At least 30 bullets were rained on his head from the driver's side window. He died instantly and his body taken to Pandia Hospital mortuary. Mombasa County Commander Robert Kitur explained that the thugs who shot Butt were the same ones who shot at the pickup as they were escaping.
Kufika karibu na petrol station, hiyo machambasi tena wakapiga watu ambaye walikuwa kwa pickup wakitoroka. And I'm confirming to you that there was one child who was injured and also the father. We have taken them to the hospital. There were no other injuries.
Kitur's explanation suggests Fahad and his son were innocent persons caught in police chase. No mention was made that they were initially held as suspects. Ali's family is now convinced that it was the police who in fact shot at them.
Sasa na wao wakabidi wakageuza gari warudi kule kule kwa kaka yao kwa Misese. Asema ndio tukakumbana nao mapolisi wakatupiga risasi. Sasa watoto wenyewe watamka wasema mapolisi wanatupiga bunduki. Sasa na wao wasema kuwa si wao na kisha waambia wao ndio wahusika.
Several police officers from the Administration Police's Rapid Deployment Unit were noticed near the police station where the gunshots were heard. But the county commander says they responded to protect the police station after a scare that it might have been attacked.
Hao watu walipitia karibu na station wakipiga risasi. So ila alertness tuko naye tukafikiri labda iko watu wanafahamia police station.
The two stories further complicate a scenario in which yet another person has been killed in Mombasa, piling on the numbers of unsolved murders. What is certain is that 4-year-old Ali will grow up with one leg, and the family of Shahid Butt has lost its head in one of the most brutal ways. In December last year, Shahid Butt was arraigned in a Mombasa court and charged with terrorism and incitement to violence. He was released on a 100,000 shillings bail. Shahid was a successful businessman with an abrasive reputation. His most famous investment was the modern coast bus and truck transport business, but he courted controversy and was reputed to rub many shoulders the wrong way. Shahid is expected to be buried on Sunday. It's an astonishing development that has sent shockwaves throughout Mombasa. Only a few hours earlier, the county commissioner and the governor were exchanging bitter words in different functions over rising security in Mombasa. The bone of contention was the use of over 40 police cars issued by Joho and friends in the hope of curbing insecurity.
We have civilian drivers kwa hizi gari. Kwa hivyo hata OSPDs hana control over these vehicles.
Sasa wewe ni uzembe gani? Driver wa manispaa ni mmoja. Pale ndani kuna maaskari watatu wenu wenye bunduki. Asa hamuperform vipi?
Civilian driver kwa Kiembeni, OSPD akianza kumtafuta hapatikani kwa simu, amezima simu.
Tutatoa madrava wetu, wekeni wenu. Petroli yetu tutatoa, tafuteni yenu. Matairi yetu tutawacha kuwapa, tafuteni yenu.
The impasse has seen the governor threaten to withdraw all the vehicles he donated altogether. But even more glaring were comments that appear to suggest the two centers of power were derailing each other.
The problem we have in these counties, una-arrest criminal, unaweka ndani, the next day watu wanachangia yeye, wanatoka. That's one.
Yeye kazi yake kila siku ni kutoa warning, kuongea katika runinga. Na alikwambia wewe ndio spokesman wa Mombasa.
Security is, however, the preserve of the central government, and statistics suggest it is failing miserably. Only 6 days ago, a Russian tourist was murdered in Mombasa while touring Fort Jesus. Over 30 people have been murdered in the past 2 years in Mombasa alone, without anyone being brought to book. Ferdinand Mondi, KTN, Mombasa.
And we want to stay with matters insecurity at the coast. Now, more than 3,000 residents of Hindi in Lamu County have for the last 5 days been spending the night in the cold following the recent attacks that left 13 people dead. The IDPs, who include men, women and children, had been forced to seek refuge at Hindi prisons, where they spend the night in an open hall. The officer in charge of the prison, Peter Kemei, asked the government to urgently intervene, saying the residents have been sleeping on the floor without mattresses or blankets.
These people do not have blankets or beddings of any kind, and to that extent I plead that the government should take charge of these people, at the same time the county government, because now you have found that they sleep even on the floor, and their children, it is cold, so the situation is pathetic.
Sad state of affairs. Let's move now to matters politics. And on the Cord Jubilee talkback. Now, Deputy President William Ruto has said Kenyans don't need a referendum. Ruto insists that what the country needs are leaders who will spare time to address the problems facing ordinary Mwananchi. Speaking in Kilgoris constituency in Narok County, Ruto told Cord leaders to help unite the country, saying this is not the time to remind Kenyans who voted for whom and which region belongs to which coalition. He maintained that President Uhuru Kenyatta said that the issue of food prices, insecurity and other challenges need more urgent attention than the referendum that's being called for by the opposition.
Sijui tufanye nini, sijui makelele, sijui tuende maandamano. Sasa mimi nawauliza nyinyi, tukienda kufanya siasa na maandamano, bei ya vyakula itashuka chini? Barabara itajengwa? Na wanasema ati wanataka kupeleka referendum, ati wanataka kupeleka referendum bei ya vyakula, ati wapeleke referendum insecurity, ati wapeleke referendum mambo ya watu wanasiasa kukosana hapa katikati. Sasa referendum wataenda kusema nini kwa referendum? Watauliza swali gani kwa wananchi? These people must be serious. Kwa sababu hawa sasa inaonekana they actually don't know what Kenya wants.
Wa Kenya hawataki mass action. Wakenya wamechoka na kudanganywa na kuadaiwa na wanasiasa. Kenyans don't want mass action, they want mass development.
2010 tulikuwa na katiba. Wale watu walivaa shati green ilikuwa ni Raila na Kibaki na Kalonzo na Wetangula na Duale na Bilo. Wala walisema hii katiba iko na shida, ilikuwa ni Mheshimiwa Ruto.
And the core team is now on its part asking the Jubelee leadership to stop panicking over the demands for a referendum. Allies of Cord leader Raila Odinga joined him in Uriri, Migori County at the burial of his mother-in-law, Rosa Oyo, the mother to Ida Odinga. It was here that the Cord team reminded Uhuru Kenyatta that he was the president of the country and therefore he need not get furious every time he is criticized by the opposition.
president should go to a function when he is annoyed. I mean, as a president, just relax. I'm advising him to relax. Because there is nothing to worry about. Ours, we are following the Constitution, and if he is to be removed, he will be removed using constitutional means.
Kama Rais Uhuru anataka kusungumuza na sisi, kwanza ajibu barua tuliyomwandikia kupitia kwa Prime Minister Raila Odinga. He can't tell us that we will not talk with conditions, and he's conditioning us that we can't talk about IEBC, which is in fact the biggest issue in this country today.
Mambo ya magendo, waajiri wengi wamekuja kwetu sisi. Wanasema to get a contract in Kenya, you have to pay 50 million. No! Na singine upati, na shilingi zako milioni 50 zimeenda. Hii ndio maneno tunataka tukae na president, tujadiliane.
Tumeanza action. Wakati anasema action. Sema kwa Kenya. Kwa sababu wanaogopa action. Na action ndio hii. Hata itakuwa 1 million signatures. Itakuwa nyingi zaidi. Na watastaajabu. Watabaki kikundi cha watu 10 hivi. Na wengine wa Kenya wote wataenda na njia ya God.
Now, of course, for a lot of that was rebuttals to some of the statements that were being made. We saw what the president, deputy president, said. Now, the president also spoke, and for the first time since his election as president, he spent a night at the Kakamega State Lodge. That was a busy weekend for the head of state in the western town. And apart from inspecting government projects and fronting national cohesion, Uhuru took a swipe at critics, saying they should give the Jubelee government time to serve Kenyans. KTN's Francis Ontoma now reports from Kakamega.
A rigorous weekend indeed. For the second day, President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto camped in Kakamega. It was an activity-packed day too for the head of state, who for the first time spent the night at Kakamega State Lodge since he took the reins of power. And throughout, the leaders did not spare the opposition.
Mambo ya uchaguzi uliisha. Wananchi sasa hawataki maneno. Maneno yatarudi uchaguzi mwingine. Wananchi sasa wanataka maendeleo. Hakuna kuuliza wewe ni wa chama gani, wewe na chama gani, wewe ni Mkenya ambaye anastahili kuhudumiwa na serikali yake. Na hivyo ndivyo tutafanya. Tukiwa pamoja na viongozi wenu hapa.
Tumesema mambo ya siasa tuweke kando. Sasa mambo tuungane kama viongozi, tufanye maendeleo, tujenge Kenya, tuende mbele. Ama nini wananchi mnasemaje? Tunakubaliana ya kwamba wananchi wanataka barabara itengenezwe, wapate maji katika manyumba yao, tuweke stima, wananchi wapate stima nyumbani na shuleni.
Uhuru opened his diary with a meeting with members of the county assembly from Vihiga and Kakamega, where there were calls for unity.
Mimi kama mama huwa nasema sio wakati wa siasa kila wakati. Ni wakati wa kufikiria hao watu wa Western watakaa namna gani. Rais amekuja, fungua milango. Msiseme kwamba wenda ikawa tunashirikiana kwa maendeleo na huku kwingine sio vile. Nyinyi mna bahati kwa sababu rais vile alikuwa Trans Nzoia County hakulala, lakini nyinyi mna bahati amelala.
We decided as a county government that we cannot work on our own. We have a national government.
From here, things proceeded to Eshisiru village, where Uhuru attended a funeral service. Later, ending at Lusui Trading Center, where he inspected the Kisumu-Kakamega Highway, a major project expected to spur economic growth in the region. Here, he cautioned contractors against extending timelines for the project.
Mimi nasema by June next year, na mimi sijui contractor anajulikana na waziri. Mimi najua ya kwamba wewe waziri, wewe ndio umeniahidi ya kwamba hii barabara nakuja kufungua June. Wewe ni kazi yako kukimbizana na contractor na wale wengine, mimi hapo mimi siko. Mimi faida ni barabara imalizike turudi hapa.
The meeting with Western leaders, sources say, centered on the region's economic affairs, with a special focus being laid on the prospects of Western's giant sugar mill Lamu Sugar Company. Capitalizing on the moment, a section of Luhya leaders pledged to work with the government in order to better the lives of their people.
Nikawauliza watu wangu na nikawaomba watu wa Western kwamba wakati unapokwenda mawindoni kuwinda, unamtafuta mnyama aliye na nyama ama unamtafuta mnyama aliye na mifupa?
Yuko mnaona wenyewe? Mnaona wenyewe? Si mnaona? Na nani amekuja kutengeneza hii barabara? Nani? President. Hii inatoka Kisumu mpaka Kitale.
Coming days after Court's Sabasaba forays in Western, the visit by President Uhuru Kenyatta serves to calm nerves and neutralize the opposition effect here. Francis Ontomwa, KTN Weekend Prime, Kakamega.
Now, away from political drama and to some drama of a different kind. A middle-aged woman was today caught red-handed by residents at a local pub in Kitengela town with drugs believed to be used to lace people's drinks. Male revelers at the bar were furious and would have done her in if the police had not intervened. Patrick Amimo has more.
Drama unfolded at Midas bar in Kitengela when angry residents pounced on this woman. She struggled with the men in an attempt to shield her face from the cameras, but her efforts were fruitless and she gave in. The middle-aged woman was found with drugs in her pouch. It is alleged that she uses the drugs to spike unsuspecting revelers' drinks before stealing from them once drugged. But things apparently did not go so well for her on this occasion. Some of the male patrons descended on her, accusing her of trying to use the drugs on a man. Witnesses claim that the drugs failed to work on the targeted victim. A section of the Kitengela residents wanted to give her a thorough beating, but police came to her rescue. The incident triggered mixed reactions.
Watu wengi wanaibiwa pesa hapa. Tukiwekea mchele hapa, tumekuja hapa na pesa zetu, tunaibiwa huku ndani. Hata mimi ndio itajirika juu hapa naibiwa.
Hata wana tabia mbaya. Unaacha bibi yako hata chumvi unjampelekea. Hata hujambaia chakula unaenda kuburudika na maraya hapa. Hata wale wanaume wanawekewa na wacha wawekewe mwenye atawekewa.
Hiyo mwanaume pia yeye akona bibi yake nyumbani. Sasa hiyo tunaelewa. Hata kama akona bibi yake nyumbani amepatikanaje hapa. Kwa hivyo naisa tana ya asubuhi. Kama ni mlevi akunywe peke yake. Kama ni amewekewa dawa pia yawekwe ndani. Hiyo ndio justice.
The lady was taken to Kitengela police station. She will be charged in court on Monday. Patrick Amimo, KTN.
You're watching KTN Weekend Prime. We do hope you will not get yourself caught up in a situation like that tonight as you go out to perhaps watch the football game that, of course, is the curtain raiser to what is happening tomorrow. Some of us will be here in just a short while, but we'll have some more stories for you as well after this short break. Stay with us. Just ahead on KTN Weekend Prime, Masai medicine from sheep's reproductive organs.
We will work with people of CORD and Jubelee to ensure that we are united. But we want to also tell our friends on the CORD side that you cannot castigate Parliament. You cannot say Parliament is useless. Because to amend the Constitution, you must be supported by at least one House of Parliament. To amend the Constitution, you must be supported by 24 county assemblies. So you cannot kick the plate which fits you.
Right, thanks for staying with us on KTN Weekend Prime. Now, for most people, once a sheep is slaughtered, the rush is for the meat from the ribs and the thighs. For the Masai, however, there is a lot more that they can get from a sheep, especially the ram. The Masai say the ram's reproductive organ can give you very useful fats that, among other things, can help men in ways that we'd rather not say here. Just take a look at this. All right, yeah, there you go with the story.
The slaughter of goats, sheep and cows during celebrations remain a standard and practice in the Masai community as part of their tradition. Celebrations cannot be complete without the community feasting on meat, an exercise done under strict adherence to the traditional practice.
Sisi tukiwa jamii ya Wamasai huwa tukichinja kondoo wakati tuko na wageni ama sahile mama amejifungua, tunachinja na kutoa ile mafuta ya mkia na kivua na sehemu za kiume.
After slaughtering of several animals in an occasion, various parts of meat are placed on animal skin and fresh leaves, and after that, different parts of the meat are selected and separated as per the Masai traditions. The community prefers to use fat from the slaughtered animal rather than cooking oil, and this is mixed with other cooking ingredients like onion and tomatoes. Ironically, the community really values fat from the reproductive organs of a ram, with majority saying it's critical to the human body. The fat is squashed from the sheep's reproductive parts and then it is heated and melted. It is thereafter mixed with blood and herbal medicine. The herbal concoction is given to breastfeeding mothers, children and the sick.
Inasaidia mama kufagia kwa tumbo. Sahile tunapea kikombe kubwa. Tena inakaa kwa masaa matatu kwa alafu aanze kukula chakula ingine.
The Masai Morans also prefer feeding on the reproductive parts of the male sheep with the belief that they are essential for a man's libido.
Warani wa Masai. Tena wanapendanga hii nyama sana. Sahile wanachinja kondoo, hii ndio ya kwanza kutoa kuchoma.
Ile damu ambayo tulitengeneza huko, ile damu hata unakunywa. Tunakunywanga.
Fred Muturi, KTN, Masai Mara.
Well, if you didn't know, now you know. You're welcome. Well, let's stay on matters meat and, food. And I know right about now you're probably having your dinner. And now we want you to put that sumptuous meal aside for just a moment. It probably contains one or more meat products in it, right? So have you ever wondered the process it takes to get that animal from its habitat to your dinner table? Take a look at this.
At a cattle dip in Lokichogio, Turkana County, a herd of cattle enjoys the tranquility and rest from the scorching sun, unaware that this is the first step in a process that will ultimately see them on various dinner tables across the land. We are told that the rest for animals is necessary to calm them down and help slow down blood circulation in their systems ahead of the slaughter. They're soon brought to this slaughterhouse, the only one of its kind in the northern part of Kenya. Cattle are lined up here for what will be the first slaughter of the day at this ever-busy establishment. The first step is to sedate the animal to lessen the pain from the process, and then professionals from the slaughterhouse cut the animal's throat. The lifeless carcass is brought to this room where it's skinned, and a female attendant removes all internal organs. The remaining meat is split into two using this machine.
Hatutaki kutumia panga kwa sababu ile mifupa midogo midogo ambayo hutokana na kutumia panga si mzuri kwa katika matumizi ambayo inaweza kudhuru mtu.
From the killing room, the meat is taken to the retention area where a government officer inspects the meat quality. The meat is then piled up and brought to this chilling room. The chilling room usually tenderizes and enhances the taste.
We are doing about 6 tons a day, and this is judged by the capacity of our chiller rooms, and we can take up to 50 large stock a day and 200 small stock a day.
Finally, a holding room at the slaughterhouse is put in place, awaiting the stocking of meat onto these trucks that take the meat to butcheries across the country. From there, Kenyans purchase the meat, marking the beginning of the end of the journey of the meat.
And moving on, did you know Kenya will be represented in lawn bowling at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland? Well, a team of 8 bowlers is polishing its skills ahead and will be among other 195 participants who will represent Kenya at the Games set to kick off on the 24th of this month. Lawn bowls is among the least talked about sport in the country due to its exclusivity to private clubs since there's no public lawn bowling venue in the country. That fact notwithstanding, Kenya has been represented at the Commonwealth Games for a long time now. A team of 8 lawn bowlers will be heading to the 20th edition of the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland.
A lawn bowler is somebody who is very consistent. He can draw a wood to the jack. There's a small white which we call it a jack and a wood. So the more you can be consistent, the better you are.
Despite the sport having an active league in the country, most of the players only get into the sport by chance, and Miriam Nyokabi's story is not different. Nyokabi will captain the Commonwealth Games team.
Limuru, that's where I come from, and there are no basketball courts around. Really not much, just a lot of plantations, and then Limuru Country Club is the sporting place around there. So when I went there, I wasn't so much interested in golf, so I wanted to do bowls.
The sport is popular in Scotland and South Africa, but the Kenyan team is optimistic of a good show at the Games.
I'm going all out for a medal. My eyes are on gold.
Most of the 2012 New Delhi Commonwealth Games participants were abandoned out at the quarter-final stage.
Right, so tomorrow's the big day, isn't it? Roy Otieno on Twitter says, thank you, babes. Argentina must win this World Cup. Pamoja tuangamize Germany, because it looks like all women in media are doing just that, supporting Argentina. Myself, apparently Victoria Rubadiri, Lilian Moli, all except you.
It's all right. I love to be on that other side. And just for the record, I have a good record of supporting the winning teams. I supported Spain in 2010. I won so much money.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm willing to put some more money on tomorrow's match.
So here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
5,000 is what we're putting our money on.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens next Saturday. I hope I'll not eat my words. I predict Germany.
I think
I predict Germany will be beaten by Argentina 1-0.
Argentina will be beaten by Germany 2-1.
Okay. 5,000 shillings on it. 5,000 bob. Let's see what happens. I hope I will not be crying, but
I am already 5,000 richer. For sure.
We will see. All right. What are your predictions? Remember to send them in to 22155. And of course, on Monday, Joshua Kimboy will be giving away that hamper for us here. We'll see what happens next Saturday after the match.
But don't
tomorrow.
be too surprised. Yeah.
Yes, Lynn, don't be too surprised. Good night. All right, we're being rushed to go, obviously.
Team Germany,
All right, Team Argentina. We'll see who wins tomorrow. Thanks for watching the show. Have a very good night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good night.